Hello, everybody. Today is Monday, the 17th of March, 2025. This is the Kubeflow. You have joined the Kubeflow bi-weekly meetings. This meeting is being recorded, and this meeting, like all Kubeflow meetings, are near to the CNCF Code of Conduct that you can find a link in our minutes of the agenda. So let me share as well in the chat. Anybody is free to join this bi-weekly call and to propose any items that they would like to discuss as part of the meeting. For today, I would like to start with the follow-ups on previous meetings that currently are more than sort of like focusing on the wrap-up activities for the Kubeflow 1.10. So I think that for the Milos here, I don't know if you wanted to bring any item from the release team meeting.
Yeah, I'll be very quick. Thank you. Practically, the release date is postponed to be now. Current plan is on 7th April. Ideally would be better to be like before 1st of April, because the 1st day of April is KubeCon Europe. But okay, no problem. We'll have release candidate number 3 before KubeCon Europe, so it's good enough. So no problems there. As I can see here in the list, you have these points here regarding this blog post. So Matteo made a lot of useful comments. Of course, if anybody else is interested, you're more than welcome to share your thoughts. Just please go and check what Dimitris created and share your comments if needed. Also, there's like slides. Practically, you have also the link here where we need to practically add all the things that are related to the model registry. And one, I think, additional thing is regarding we need to create a video. Every group will practically have to decide whether like liaison or working group leader is gonna do that or together. So we need to like discuss that. I don't have a problem to create that on my own, but I think it will be very useful to then do that in cooperation, just have some kind of text that is agreed among us, and then I can present that in a form of pre-recorded video. I think that's probably the best thing. So we can discuss that and see what's the best way to do that. Distribution testing is in progress. So I think so far so good. Let's see what happens, but I think we are on track and everything seems okay. So we are very near to our goal. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Milos. Yes, indeed. Just for a pragmatic aspect to this point, my suggestion, either Lucas, I'm not sure if he's on the call today. There is a couple of items that could be very helpful in this regards. One would be that in the blog post, we could add a link to the instruction to install the UI, so that people looking at the blog post can see a screenshot of the UI. Thanks again, Ed, for adding that one. And then sort of like then walk through the instruction on how to make it available. So this is a short-term action item. And this could be as well the same, this can be a helpful starting point for Milos in case that he wants to showcase something in particular. But since that I know that there are many aspects and moving parts about the UI, sort of like to showcase maybe some capabilities, something. This is the part where either if you can rely with Lucas and create like a short video that Milos can sort of like integrate it as part of it. Same things for sort of like for Alessio. If you can sort of like give Milos a couple of bullet points about what the CSI's update were about, and then a short video recording for this as previously mentioned. And so that Milos can sort of like see the material and then decides if he wants to sort of like where he wants to make the touch. I saw both thumbs up, so either Alessio, please let me know if there is any concern about this way of proceeding. Yeah, and then.
No, Matteo, I'm not sure only if you should have one video or have one video from the UI, one video of the model registry release with all the features together or not? To don't
My suggestion is that for the delivery that we need to have for the Kubeflow 1.10 train will be that a short video, couple of minutes that they show the UI of Model Registry where it is, and then the call to action that can be very well like here are the instructions. I know that you have an agenda item later about the UX feedback, so this could be a great hook to say, oh, by the way, is like while you're trying this one, please be aware that we are looking for UX feedback. So that's why I would recommend that you craft the UI team, you craft the video, and then you coordinate with Milos because he will give likely the introduction of this, or maybe do a talk over if he so decides. So my suggestion is indeed like record, I would say 3 minutes video, 5 minutes video, something like this. So that it's a helpful way to get started. Then up to you if you wanted to do it, you or Lucas want to do it in one of the following Kubeflow Model Registry bi-weekly meeting. So this meeting, if you want to take the time to go around through demo, perfect. We can take as much time as we want. And similarly, if you prefer instead to have a video, we can attach it to the Model Registry playlist in the Kubeflow YouTube channel. So we are always free to exercise that option. No problem.
Perfect. And just for the record, we already added on the post. The last paragraph is the action item for the instructions to install.
Thank you so much. All right. And then I don't think we know that it's not so this I should clarify, not a critical path item, but I know that Madi was running on this point. So I see that you have added some action item here. I don't know if you wanted to talk about this point.
Yeah, hello everybody. I think I did almost 70% before this meeting, and I'm right now trying to also pull the images from GitHub container registry in the manifest. Then I think our measure is the green pass of the test, if I'm not mistaken. So I will keep you updated. Hopefully after this meeting, we can have the first review.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Madi, for contributing to this. I know also that Eder is doing some work in this area. So I know that there is a Slack thread also open for this. Let me also link it in case that we want to follow up offline about this one. So thank you so much, Madi, for your contribution so far. And indeed, let's say, we appreciate you taking on this activity. My suggestion is that based on the release team meeting just earlier, I understand that this is not a strong requirement at this stage, but indeed is like we appreciate the work that is being done because this migration will need to happen when the Docker hub will implement their pull limits. So this is going to be definitely helping. All right. So
Matteo, just before the why we are rushing this on Kubeflow is that we don't want to break the release with the manifests. After like we launch Kubeflow 1.10, the RC3 that relies on Docker, and then the manifest requires Docker, and this will break up like 1 month after because they are planning this for, I think it's mid-April, the date.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah, so I would suggest that, I don't know the timeline, if you can include this on before the official release.
Okay, but then my understanding from the release team meeting is that I'm not sure if they want it as Kubeflow 1.10.0 or they are okay to do a .1. But either way, the thing is that simply is not, let me put it this way. My understanding is that it was not a requirement for the 1. This is now, but we will need, as soon as we have it, the better it is.
Yeah, it's not a requirement. I have the same understanding. It's not a requirement. It's kind of a nice to have.
Yeah. So indeed, thank you, Madi, and thank you, Eder, for following up on this, not only on the Kubeflow Model Registry, but also in the other working groups. I would say let's continue to it. I put it as under the follow-ups for the 1.10, given the stalled time frame that we are dealing with. But indeed, that's much appreciated. Okay. Milos, didn't miss on any item here for the 1.10. In case, let me know. But I think that we covered most that was discussed in the previous meeting.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you, Milos, and thank you everybody for the work on this part. As a second agenda item, I saw either that you have added these talking points. So
Yep.
if you want to speak to it.
This this is just to confirm the community that this is okay. That this will come from the UX team from Red Hat that are partnership a lot. And as we are trying to move and are going to move our team upstream, would you like to send an email for the community with the work that we did for 110 and what we're planning for the next release in a user research to basically inviting the community to do user feedback in our UI, because this type of data is super important for to drive our UX effort. So just to me to double check if I can send the email in the community. And Madi, I saw that you are interested. I would love to have you reply. And this will be probably, we are going to create a questionnaire that will go together with the 110 release. As soon as the release is out, we send the questionnaire for the community, and the community can help us to be a better product for the next release. And if you have more people in the community, Milos and others that we can help us also, as much as we get feedback from more companies, we can make the ROI more independent thing and what's better for the community.
I think it's totally fine, Eder. And indeed, a sort of like a similar suggestion to the above. Since that we are going to have an opportunity to have the announcement of the Model Registry UI as part of the blog post, of the slides, of the instructions even, I think that especially in the instructions, if you have a statement that says, hey, because I think it's going to be more effective than the email, to be frank. I think there is no problem in sending the email for this part because it's a good catch. But I think that the most effective point where you can place this information is in the instruction to install the UI.
That's even better. We're going to link in the instructions. And what is the deadline for the email? Is next week, 2 weeks from now?
What do you mean for the email?
When the announcement will be sent? Will be sent together with the release, Milos?
So I think that they are going to have first the blog post and the sort of like the slide prepared. So the blog post, they will likely have it by KubeCon EU timeframe. But then for the video, typically that is done afterwards.
So Milos, 2 weeks from now, it's fine, right?
I guess so, but we still have to define. That was like said on Ricardo wrote, like we have to define the deadline. But as Matteo said, like somewhere I think in the beginning of April, like you know, the sooner the better is for us to do that. Like just not get like okay, we need for yesterday. You know, like happens in our business often. Like we need it for yesterday. So the sooner the better, I think.
Yeah. I'm just asking this because I would talk with the Red Hat UXD team that they have UX researchers. They can do much better questions than I do, and so I would tell them to like 2 weeks from now to have this.
Okay.
Yeah, indeed, it's like maybe the as well. What I'm thinking is that if we have this one, that's sort of like the statement that you're planning to insert in the instruction header. What we can do is that I definitely know of what presentation are going to end up in KubeCon. At some of the presentation that are going to end up to be in KubeCon EU. So that also could be a good way to
That would be
publish
amazing.
As long as with the UI. So I think that is definitely something of worth of value.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys.
To you. So I think this conclude on this agenda item. We can move it to Jenny. I think that you added this item.
Oh, awesome. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Matteo. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick demo here just to provide some context. There have been some exciting new features that have gone in from the midstream to Model Registry, specifically the admin settings screens. So I'm going to go ahead and share here and show you guys the progress. So here I'm going to show we have this exciting new Create Model Registry button that's tied into the Create functionality here for Model Registry. So this I'm demoing here in the standalone. So here, for example, if we create Model Registry, we have this fancy new modal that comes up with a bunch of fields here that support name, description. We also have resource name here that you can use to identify your resource in OpenShift, or I think that should be updated. So maybe we just found something that should be fixed here. And then, yeah, we have a bunch of other stuff here as well, like host, port, username, and password and database, which is supported as well. And everything here that you see has also been themed to match the MUI theme. So for example, if we go here and we click out of this password input, we'll see that the error case has been themed to match what comes from MUI. So we have this red outline, red border, and then red helper text below. And same for the other input fields. If they're left empty, you see that styling get applied as well for the rest of them. And so, yep, that is the Create Model Registry modal, which applies all of that MUI theming to the modal as well. You see here the MUI modal with the black border here and the buttons as well. So if we X out here, another feature that was added here, let me just switch branches quickly, is the delete functionality for a model registry. So here, if we switch and refresh, you'll be able to see as well. We have this new menu here where that supports edit and delete. So if we click delete model registry, we can see a delete modal come up, and same thing here. We have a verification, delete model registry, and then you can type in model registry. And then the delete button will be active. Everything is themed using the MUI theming. And when we click delete, that should trigger off the delete functionality once that's added. And yeah, that's it. Are there any questions or anything from the community here? Yes, Eder. Oh, there are some questions. Yes, go ahead.
I just replied the question. This is mocked on the front end right now, and on the BFF is just a fake operation that pretends that the operation worked. The thing that I'd like to open the discussion should not be on this call because it will be over time, is how we write this functionality on the Kubeflow platform. And I don't know if we should have a special meeting. We should start with the issue because there is a bunch of challenges, especially because we don't have yet a controller that from the back end BFF point of view will be much more easy if you have a controller to handle this, especially because the Kubeflow central dashboard, there is a lot of caveats, and Lucas already discussed with some of you on the upstream. So I don't know, Matteo, your suggestion or others, what is the best place for us to bootstrap the discussion of creating Model Registry on the Kubeflow?
I think, thank you, Eder, for stepping in. Before I leave the floor to anybody who wants to speak, please feel free to raise the hand. Just to reiterate, first of all, thank you, Jenny, for demonstrating. I think that the point, if I understand, of this presentation is to showcase that the material UI theming is also applied to the settings page. So it's possible to have what we have sort of like internally, also upstream. And I think this is fantastic to get started. So that's great. To the point about what functionality does it trigger in the backend, and this is for the point that Eder is also bringing in. The point is, as I mentioned, that in previous meetings, that we need to coordinate with the platform about this controller thing, because we went into the discussion almost 2 years ago, and sort of like in general, this is not seen, is a bit of a sort of like delicate topic, because from the point of view of the manifest, this happens to be that we cannot support operator static controller sort of thing. So what we need to decide is whether this functionality we wanted, sort of like upstream, but knowing that it's possible to port it, because this demonstrates that the UI is possible to be ported. Now we don't need to understand what we can do in the backend. In the backend could be a controller, as you mentioned, from just putting down their ideas. It could be also very well be that is a bunch of manifests that are simply created and they're just deployed. So, but to have this conversation, first we needed to involve with the platform and resolve about that sort of like installation by default of UI that was mentioned. Because I think with that one, we can discuss with the platform about the tenancy model and the security requirements that are needed. So that is not a conversation that we can start fully here. As I mentioned, we need to have you, Lucas, anybody that the UX involved as needed, and then discuss it with the platform. And to discuss it in the platform working group. Care settling, as Dheeraj mentioned in the chat, you can track this one as in the Kubeflow platform. There is already an issue that has been created that I've linked. I think that I copied you already in case that that I didn't. I can send the link where for post 1.10 the platform is asking, okay, we want to demonstrate a model where Kubeflow Model Registry UI is enabled by default as a Model Registry installation. That we needed to have that as part of that conversation.
Yep.
There is where we can discuss about tenancy model, AirPack authentication schemes, and so on. Yes.
I would say let's create a fresh issue for this either, because you're coming at this from the UI perspective, right? And user experience, instead of like trying to piggyback on some other issue. Highlight this as a UI and platform need. It's okay if there are duplicates, I think. At least it will highlight the fact that there are multiple places that this need is coming from, right? And it supports what you need.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm sorry, speak for Jenny, because if look at all the white team.
Folks, I invited, however, that if we want to have this discussion, it's best to raise the hand.
No,
because reading chat in parallel is a bit difficult on this topic.
Sorry. And it's just my question that if I'll agree as a community that the user should have the ability of creating model registries from the UI. If we all agree on this, it's just a matter of us discussing how, right? And I can open the issue there.
And that's why I was saying, if we create an issue that says that starts by saying, oh, we want to do this, then maybe we can also have this discussion there, right? Like, is this a need? Should this be enabled in Kubeflow or not? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that it's not so much a question about like, oh, how do we implement this?
Yep.
Right? Is this a feature that's needed? And then, if we agree on that, then we can, talk about how do we implement
it. And in your point of view, this is something that should be desirable.
I would support it personally, but that's just my personal opinion. That's why I'm saying, let's get community and the platform involved, like Matteo said.
We need to have the discussion platform because from my understanding, it's also a matter of how you envision this. Because if people want to say, oh, I want one model registry in my Kubeflow platform and only that one, that is sort of like not really a functionality that we need. But since I understand that this has to be in a profile workload scope, this is why we needed to have this discussion.
Exactly. Right. And this kind of, actually this might, bleed out into like or turn into like a bigger can of worms too, because there's this whole discussion about like whether Kubeflow is a distribution or not. So it's just, if it's just a technology demonstration, then a single model registry is fine, right, at this level, because it's not really meant for like production use or something. So then should we spend time working on building this functionality in Kubeflow?
Ramesh, just one comment before, and I understand that this will open a can of worms. That's why I want to start this conversation as early as possible for us to have an answer for the next release. Go ahead, Ramesh.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate all the work you guys are doing in this area. I agree on all the comments made. This probably should be a community level discussion for sure. My opinion, the where my head is, we should have. I mean, nobody is thinking, at least in the community. Distributions may be different, but at least the communist level, we should make this one simple as possible. I see. I mean, I'm not too sure if at all we support this, right? Let's say that we do support that. We create a model registry, right? Delete a model registry. So how are we even getting to this screen, right? I mean, at least when I was trying the UI screens, you install the model registry from the manifest and stuff. Maybe we have to change. Maybe we have to include the model registry in the central dashboard. Then the admin screen comes up, and
Right. So
there is,
Ramesh, that's what Matthew was pointing out earlier, right? Like for ease of use, maybe just having a single model instance is
right,
good
exactly.
enough.
That's where I'm going. Is a default. I would default. We need to make it simple, dead simple for the somebody who is coming and installing through manifest. Everything should be installed for them. A model registry, and let's just have them create permissions. That's the only thing we should be managing in terms of how they can access this. If somebody does say that, oh, I want to have, one is not enough, then if there are any documentation wise, scripts wise, however, controller wise, however we help the others to install something with a more work, right? If they are willing to take it, if they are manifest or controller, however we support it, that's the second step. Is an optional one. I would say we should go there. That will make it easy for entry for somebody. I want to make sure whatever we provide is easy, dead simple. It's available at the onset and go. Go ahead, Mitchell.
Thank you, Ramesh. Fully agree. And to this topic, indeed, in one of the previous Kubeflow bi-weekly model registry, I think that we are sort of like Dheeraj raised a fair point that is like at least for our distribution point of view, what we do is that we have a dedicated namespace where we install the different instances. So it could even be that if platform, so Kubeflow platform doesn't want to use the Kubeflow namespace for this activity, we could even discuss with them, Kubeflow platform, a namespace where to dedicate to install this single instance of model registry, and that's it. So in that case, we don't need this admin screen in a way, because it's sort of like provided out of the box, single instance model registry, and then anybody is free to do it, not to customize. I think that for this one, indeed, it's I agree. Dheeraj's point, we can even make a second GitHub issue. I will take care of linking them together. The thing that are sort of like in the same, I would say, bigger bucket. So either once you raise the GitHub issue, please let me know. I can take the chores of making the links, and then let's discuss it with platform. My only thing to be realistic is that right now everybody is so focused on 1.10, and this seems to be a big discussion. So start it as early as possible, but this as early as possible means that first the check mark of the 1.10 must be.
Yep. Absolutely. It's I'll do this. And in my point of view, both sorry, I didn't raise my hand and start to talk. Sorry. Both approaches are correct. The first one that we have that have seamless installation by default in some namespace, but also the second one that as I'm a Kubeflow user, I want to have the settings UI to able to create a new model registry in my profile that I have access.
And Dheeraj, you have your raised hand.
Yeah, that's what my question was actually. At the beginning, is this going to be in 110? Is this going to be visible to
No,
users?
this
Because
no, this, no,
okay,
this is not visible. This is just the whys that Jenny wrote here is based on a mock-up version. So we are just
okay.
we are just from we have this thing that we call like standalone mode. That is our app that we develop inside Model Registry. This is not 1.10. This is disabled
Okay,
on
cool.
1.10.
All right.
This is on the code base but disabled.
All right, cool. Thanks. Thanks, Vijay.
All right, so just to wrap up, thank you so much, Jenny, for presenting the fact that the sky's the limit, meaning that everything that we have actually in the UI as part of our distribution is possible to do. I think that indeed this spawned, I think, an interesting conversation that we had from items following previous Kubeflow biweekly meetings. Let's record this one. Let's discuss this one in the platform with either Lucas, Dheeraj, Ramesh, anybody who wants to participate, of course, and we will take it from there, I think.
That sounds great. Thank you, Eder, for the additional context there. And yeah, thanks everyone for the great discussion.
Thank you for the demo.
Let me go back, and I think as a next agenda item, we had Alessio.
Yeah, thank you, Matteo. Let me share my screen here. All right, can you see it?
Yeah, we can see a screen with 3 team stars.
Okay. So first, a bit of context. I'm doing a live demo on Tilt. Tilt is a local environment toolkit to orchestrate microservices in a Kubernetes cluster. So why I'm proposing it is to lower a bit the bar for new contributors to our project so that guys that don't have really much experience with the Kubernetes can try to contribute on the UI, on the Python client, on also on Model Registry itself. So let me show you how does it work. Sorry about that. I have a kind cluster up and running right now. It's empty at the moment, so I can just spin up Tilt. This is the make target that you can find in my PR. The PR is this one, the 850. You can find the code here. Once you run this command, Tilt will spin up with the default services that are just our proxy, Model Registry proxy, and the database. It will take a few seconds on my machine to go up. You can watch the logs here from the containers in the pod and see that now that it's ready, you can just check that it's working. So the API, it's up and running. It does live hot loading of whatever you modify in the code base. So to give a bit of an example, I have typically a hello world here. So I will save the file. And we can see that it has been updated. And now there is the hello world here. So in a matter of seconds, you have the library load of the component. You can also add additional services. We have the Python client here in the tilt config JSON file. Here I saved the file, so we can see that Tilt already is adding the Python client functionality. By default, if you add only the Python client, Tilt will just create the wheel file. So you have locally the wheel file updated on every change that you do in the Python source files. Another thing that we can add is have the Jupyter hub here in the cluster. Like before, just by saving, Tilt will create the hub and a notebook here in the cluster. There is already an user with a default user with the default password that we can use. So let's wait a bit for it to be ready. It will take a bit of time. Like you can see, Tilt as a dependency, it does automatically have a check for dependencies. So the notebook will wait for Jupyter Hub to be ready. Then it will create the notebook and etc. Now it's creating the notebook here. All right. So we should have the notebook. Default user is MR, password 1234. And we have the notebook ready. Here, there is a live job to copy the wheel into the notebook. It didn't start before because we didn't have the notebook, but if you start with these services by default, it will work out of the box. Let's retrigger here. And we should see the wheel files in our notebook so that we have the updated files to use in notebook. Let's try also here if it's working. You can do that by doing this. Sorry, wrong path. No problem. Let's do this here. And it will install the wheel here in the notebook. Let's restart the kernel to be sure that it's working. And let's try from the getting started guide. All right. So let's try also here if the live loading is working. I added a lowered function here. Like you can see, it has been updated. Let's do the restore. And we should see the registry hello world function. Sorry, let's restart here. The demo gods.
Yeah, it's also workbooks are typically very stateful, so it doesn't help either. But I think that the concept is
yeah, here you can see. Okay, and let's see also the UI as last item. Let's add the front end here. Let's save the file. As default, you have all the services enabled in the PR, but you are free to disable for less resources on your cluster. The UI is almost ready. The library loading, it's also working on the BFF for the UI guys. But let's go with the UI first. Tilt is doing also port forwarding for the services. So you can see here, the UI will be on this address. Tilt is also creating a test user for making it work. And as you can see, there is no model here. Let's try also the hello world here in the UI. Update is in progress. It will create the static files and then inject into the pod. Let's see. Hello world, yeah. All right. And as you can see, it can be useful to test using all the services. Like now I'm creating a model and I can just see it here. And that's it. There is also a tear down function so that you can have everything removed from your cluster. And that's it. If you have any question or you want to try my PR, I would be really glad. So I can have a bit of feedback that is working not only on my machine, but for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Alessio, and congrats on the demo as well too. I think this is very helpful. I also, just for context, this is, and Alessio, maybe you want to speak briefly that you also proposed this one to other working groups.
Yeah, the first project that is using Tilt right now is the notebooks one. I have an APR opened also here. So yeah.
This is also great because I think it really helps on some features that I had in other environments that I'm missing. So just also for completeness, maybe for those watching the video, so do they have to have some specific system requirement, or this is installed like a Docker in a Docker environment, kind of like what's the tool chain looks like for installation point of view?
The make target will will download the binary for Tilt and point rating for the Python side, but you will need kubectl and Go in your machine to make it work. No other requirements. And you either should have Docker or Podman on your machine.
Yeah, a container runtime engine. All right. Thank you so much, Alessio. I've taken care in linking the PR directly in the minutes of the meeting notes. So if anybody is watching the video, you can find it under pull request 850. And indeed, thanks again, Alessio, for taking the time and walking us through the demo. I think this is really great. If somebody actually can evaluate it from using a Mac, I expect that maybe the people from the notebook already did. But if somebody can give it a try, I think that will be awesome. Thanks again, Alessio. All righty. So this was for Alessio demo. Madi, I saw that you have added also an additional points. If you want to speak to that.
Yeah, I think the PR for the migration of images is ready. Please take a look if you have time. And afterward, if it's possible, I would like to suggest that we can use maybe GitHub Actions instead of hard-coded comments in the workflow. The benefit is it would be, I think, less code. And then afterward, we can have templates additionally to have some level of abstraction when hopefully we have more images, it would be easier to change or anything related to the building of images or the testing would be easier, I think. Yeah, that is a suggestion, and I can work on that after we got this PR merged.
Yeah, thank you, Madi, for this point. For this one, for this latter point specifically, so first of all, thank you for the update on the original PR. For this latter point specifically, I think that what was the reason why we have those scripts is that in some cases we needed to be able to give to sort of like developers that are contributing to the project a way to publish their own in images in their own local registries if they have, or their own bespoke one. And when we did it at the time, we found that if we were relying on GitHub Action for this, it will have poses some challenges because in that case, we sort of we will need to maintain it in two places. One is the thing that sort of like builds the image and push it to the registry that I see from my local machine, and then use instead GitHub Action as a separate flow only for publishing. So I would suggest that for this latter part, maybe it's best if we conduct a throughout assessment of if it's really needed. Because I can see your point that it will avoid some code call out from GitHub Action, but at least it helps us to consolidate the capability all in one place and have it both for local development and also from CI. In my suggestion would be to say, as you have some experience on this topic also from other working groups, I will be curious how other working groups are approaching that thing, this topic from this perspective. So in case I would suggest that before starting the work on that part, we first sort of like rely on you being active in also other working group and see how they do it for that part, because maybe I'm not sure how they manage this duality. It's like sometimes you want to publish an image from your local machine for your own registry, and sometimes instead you want to do it from CI. Hope it does make sense.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. And for the last point, sorry, since I'm aware about the Ketib and the trainer, they don't have this second option to publish on your own local registry. And there they are using the same approach that I described here. But I got your point totally. So I would say let's keep it as it is.
Right.
Thank you very much.
No, it's like you know, if we find that there is an improvement, it's always best. Maybe just log an issue about as well, a GitHub issue about what we just discussed. So at least we sort of like help out for, you know, the next comer on this topic. And indeed, maybe somebody will have an additional idea on this topic later down the line. So if we have it in writing, then at least we can point the user to what we discussed as well during today's meeting. Thanks a lot, Madi. All right. We don't have any action item in the agenda for today. So if anybody wants to speak to any item that we went through, this is a chance to have what the last minutes items. So I will go around in thrice in a second. So unless anybody has any further items to propose.
May I ask a super short question regarding the GSAP project? Is it only related to your working group, or it's combination between others? Because I know that you are the main mentor, but I saw some discussion on the issue, but I don't know, maybe we want to talk about it, I think, on the Slack.
So for the GSOC project, just to clarify what potentially there might be some confusion there. So the whole Kubeflow community is participating in the Google Summer of Code. So that means that there will be several projects being currently sort of like open for funding. So it's not only related to Kubeflow Model Registry. So it means that if you want to participate in any Kubeflow Google Summer of Code project, as soon as we know which one will be funded, you can apply. I am listed in the mentor for one of the projects.
Yeah.
We are not there in this phase of sort of like the project have been funded from the Google Summer of Code.
Yeah, I mean specifically that project to export the models to Model Registry. Okay, then we can talk about it on Slack.
Oh, absolutely. We can talk on the Slack, and in that case, the process will be that as soon as they are funded, we will know more how people can appoint them to apply. I see a raised hand by Ramesh, so please, if you want.
You wanting to be a mentor, maybe, or what's your interest?
I want to apply. Actually, I want to open a draft proposal as a mentee for this project, and maybe change a bit the subject to see it from the whole Model Registry side, not specifically from the trainer side. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Are you a student currently, or?
Yes, I'm a master's student in Austria.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Then, yeah, what Matthew is saying is, yeah, just let's follow that process. When Google Summer of Code opens the proposal space, you can submit a proposal. Meanwhile, you can work with folks like Matthew, who has been listed as a mentors on the project in terms of crafting. If you have questions about the proposal, if you need some review and feedback on your proposal, if they got some time, they can hopefully help. They can help you with that. Yeah, application opens on 24th, so 24th onwards you can submit your proposals. Meanwhile, my suggestion, since you are already contributing to Model Registry, right? Keep involved in the community and see if there are any things you can keep contributing to the community, get yourself familiarized as well as known to the community, right? To improve your chances of being a mentee or selected as a mentee, right? One of the criteria the mentors have been mentioning is, hey, we would give a preference to the folks who are already contributing or have been trying to contribute to the Kubeflow project already. So that's a good. You're already well over there, so appreciate your efforts. So keep going, and yeah. Meanwhile, hit it up with folks like Matthew in terms of with your proposals and your thoughts on that.
Of course. Thank you very much.
All right, and just as a sort of like a good plug here, a good segue could be that tomorrow there is the Kubeflow community meeting that happens every week. So anybody who is interested in the Google Summer of Code opportunity, I strongly invite as well. One more reason to join that community call, because as the application will start to open, then it's a good way to see which projects are going to be ramping up. All right. So this was it as the last minute item. Just as a reminder, we will run again the next Kubeflow bi-weekly meeting in 2 weeks. And then in 2 weeks, no, I just have a doubt. Sorry, let me just check. Okay, so I think that I may not be able to do it that one because there is KubeCon oncoming. But anyway, we will figure out, or anyway, we will see if there is any announcement that we need to make. Anyway, thanks again, everybody, for joining and for everybody who contributed into this agenda. I look forward to the next steps, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.